Hi, friends. Welcome to another interesting episode of my song, talk, and story show. Today is a special episode because I have invited a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, Supratik Biswas, to do a joint session with me. So today we are going to talk about very popular novelist, writer, and author, Dan Brown. Now, most of you must have either seen the movies based on his novels or read the novel also or done both. So he has written many famous, very interesting novels, and his most interesting character, the character that which he has created and has become very popular, is Robert Langdon. He has written 5 books based on this character, and we will be discussing not only about Dan Brown, his writings, his style, his themes, but also put a spotlight on one of his books, The Da Vinci Code. I do hope that you enjoy this episode and you enjoy Supratik Biswas also. So, fasten your seatbelts. Ready, steady, let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the special episode where two of us are hosting the episode. I'm sure that both of us may be well known to you, but again, for the sake of familiarity, I'm introducing Mr. Ravi so that you will be familiar with him. So, Mr. Ravi is a close friend of mine, and we are friends for the last so many years. He is a Tambram from Chennai but grew up in Delhi. His job in insurance took him to many places. He has lived in Jaipur, he has lived in Allahabad, he has lived in Lucknow, he has lived in Agra, and finally landed in Bombay about 25 years back. He is an avid bookworm and a music lover. He started writing stories and poems from the 1970s, and then he has authored 3 books. He has his own website in YouTube where people can listen to his stories and also his songs. He is a beautiful singer. So I am saying that you go to the site and listen to his songs plus his books. So I think that is Ravi for you.
Yeah, thanks, Supratik, and welcome to this special episode, all of you, known, unknown, new, old, everyone. So, Supratik, again, is a very old friend of mine, and we thought we'll take this opportunity to talk on books which both of us love. Supratik he prefers to call himself a bong, a Bengali, that is, a die-hard kind of a Bengali. And he also has been initiated into the pleasures of books quite early in his life. And one thing good about him is he not only reads books, but he also assimilates a lot of knowledge and information and does a lot of analytical thinking on whatever he has read. Now, you must watch the episodes on his YouTube channel, where he reviews and comments on famous Bengali and English writers, and puts a spotlight on some of their famous works, and gives his own take on the books which he had read, the books which appeal to him. So together today, we are doing a special on a very famous author, a very popular author, Dan Brown. So to tell you more about Dan Brown, I hand over to Supratik.
We say thanks, Ravi. We we say that it is Daniel Gerhard Brown. If I tell you this name, you people will also to just place immediately. But if I say Dan Brown, everybody will know about Dan Brown. So Daniel Gerhard Brown is one of the authors of modern times, but he is known by his name. He is the writer of mystery thrillers, and he has created a character called Robert Langdon. Robert Langdon happens to be a hero on 5 of his novels. His books have been translated into 57 languages across the globe and have been sold up to 250 million still now. So you can imagine what is his popularity. Going by this, he will not give you what he was, how he started writing, how he grew up, where he grew up. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of that. Dan Brown was born in 1964 in Exeter in New Hampshire, US. He is the eldest of 3 siblings. His father was a mathematics teacher of Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire. His mother was a trained church organist, and the children grew up as Episcopalians. If you ask me what is Episcopalians, I will be able to tell you only that this is a Christian sect, and maybe because he has grown up in that particular sect, his interest in the Christianity materials in his books. The fact that Dan Brown is so interested in anagrams and solving puzzles came from his father. He made the children really sweat it out, and even Christmas presents were given after they were able to solve puzzles and participate in treasure hunts. Dan Brown completed his graduation from Amherst College in 1986, and then later on started contemplating what he would be doing as a profession. He took up a career of music and was contemplating to do songwriting. And at the same time, in order to sustain himself, he took up teaching in school in his local school. Around this time, Dan Brown joined the National Academy for Songwriters and started participating in their programs on a regular basis. At the academy, he met his future wife. She was Blythe Newton, who was the director of the academy, and she is 12 years senior to Dan Brown. She was going out of her way to help young Dan in his various projects. The couple married in 1997 in a simple ceremony in New Hampshire. We have been told that by the end of separated. Now Ravi will take you through his works, and then we will continue the program with a little bit going into one of his stories. So over to Ravi.
Okay, thank you, Supratik. No, it's a bit sad that these two got separated. However, no,
Yes.
another interesting story goes, Dan Brown, while on a vacation in Tahiti in the year 1993, he happened to be reading Sidney Sheldon's novel, Doomsday Conspiracy. And he was inspired by this book to write thrillers. So he first wrote a Digital Fortress, that was his first novel, and then subsequently quit his teaching job in 1996, and then started concentrating on a career of full-time writing. Thereafter, he never looked back, and the rest, as we can say, is history. So Dan Brown is known most for his mystery and nail-biting thrillers, and his most famous and popular creation, as Supratik said earlier, is Robert Langdon, a suave Harvard professor who is an expert in religious symbology. So, in fact, he is the main character of the last five Dan Brown novels, including a novel which we have picked up for today's discussion, that is Da Vinci Code. Now, this Da Vinci Code was written in 2003, and it is the second of the Robert Langdon books. And it opens in Paris, where the curator of the Louvre Museum is gruesomely murdered within the museum. Now, the French intelligence agency gets in touch with Robert Langdon, who happens to be in Paris for an event as a guest speaker. The agency suspects Robert Langdon's involvement in the murder, as the dead man, the curator, had scrawled the message, "Find Robert Langdon," minutes before his death. Robert was also scheduled to meet the curator earlier in the evening, so that created a lot of suspicion in the intelligence agency's mind. Now, as this story unfolds, in steps Sophie Nouveau, the estranged granddaughter of the murdered man. She is a cryptographer working for the French intelligence agency. She suspects that her grandfather, before being murdered, left certain clues and a message for her. With the help of Langdon, Sophie is able to decipher the message and is able to retrieve a box from the safe deposit of a bank. In this box, they find another box containing a keystone. Not knowing what the keystone is meant for, they take it to an expert on the Holy Grail, one Mr. Teabing. After discussions with him, certain riddles become clear. But it also appears that Teabing is part of the conspiracy and was involved in the killing of her grandfather. However, as the story progresses, Teabing is arrested and the mystery is finally revealed. Sophie meets her grandmother and her long lost brother, and it is revealed that they are the descendants of Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, who, according to a popular legend, were actually husband and wife. Well, all this happens in a span of 24 hours, just 24 hours, which is trademark Dan Brown. As all other Langdon stories happen within the same time span. So you can understand that within these 24 hours, some 300 pages of the novel, it's absolutely packed with events and happenings, twists and turns in every corner, and it is nail biting. Supratik, what is your take?
I have actually thoroughly enjoyed Da Vinci Code. You know, it is typical Dan Brown. Dan Brown will create the spider's web and will untangle you within 24 hours. See, the books are like this. The Da Vinci Code is a book. When you start reading it, you can't leave it before you end it.
Absolutely.
You start it, and maybe you will spend a sleepless night to end it. So that is typical Dan Brown for us.
Yes.
Then what happens is there is another trademark of Dan Brown, which is also there in this book. See, here most of the villains of Dan Brown are some known person. Here Teabing is a friend. Teabing is a friend, and actually Langdon goes to Teabing to find out more about the mystery. So he turns out to be the ultimate villain. This we think is actually an influence of Sidney Sheldon, because Doomsday Book started it all. Reading Doomsday Book, he had the idea of becoming a thriller writer. So this is a typical Dan Brown book, and I would say that this is one of his must-read books. I think two of his books have been very popular: Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code. So I would suggest that people should read it, but again, this was made into a film also. And if you feel that 400, 500 pages is too much and you don't have that much time, the film should be a good alternative. The film
Yeah.
will take you through all the twists and turns and you will really enjoy the film. But having said all these things, what I have read is Dan Brown has his critics. The particularly the angle of Jesus Christ's marriage
Yeah.
has angered certain Christian groups. And
Absolutely.
again he has a big critic in Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie has been very critical about Dan Brown and says that his books are very bad. I don't know what is his idea of forming that opinion,
Now,
but I
Salman
would say
himself has been criticized for his books.
yes,
And there
yes.
was a
So
fatwa also against him, no? For Midnight
yes, so
Children or some other
so
book.
his criticism may not count as too much. But what I would say that as per the sale of books, as per the popularity of the author, Dan Brown happens to be one of the most prominent and popular authors in at least the last 15 to 20 years.
True.
Last
Absolutely
15 to
true.
20 years, he is one of the most popular, if not the most popular. And I'm sure everybody who is listening to this program or who would be listening to this program would be familiar with the name of Dan Brown. They will never say Dan who. Maybe Daniel Brown. Everybody is, I think, will be very eager to know what we have to say about Dan Brown. So I think anything more you can add?
Yeah. No, another curious thing about his books, the Langdon books at least. There are some recurrent themes. The themes of his books include cryptography, religious symbols, art, and as you rightly pointed out, conspiracy theories. And he goes back in history to dig out all those, controversial stories and legends and converts it into fiction.
Yes.
And he uses, as you
And
pointed out, yeah, he uses a lot of Christian
maybe
themes, mostly Christian
secret
themes.
societies too.
Huh?
Maybe secret societies too.
Yeah, that Opus Dei and whatnot here. So he
Yes,
uses
yes, yes.
Christian themes, and all this is a very interesting mix of fact and fiction. In fact, if you had noticed, in
Yes.
each of his books in the beginning, Dan Brown makes it a point to claim that the places and organizations mentioned in the book are real. Now, normally there is a disclaimer that everything is fiction and
All
no
fictional,
direct or
fictional.
indirect.
Yeah.
Now he says that
Yes.
most of what he has mentioned, the places and some of the events and some organizations which he mentions, they are all real.
Are real.
Yeah. So
He's
in 2005, Suprati, no, surprisingly, Brown was named as one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine.
oh,
The editors created him with keeping the publishing industry afloat. Can you believe it? He kept the publishing industry afloat by
okay.
renewing interest in Leonardo da Vinci and early Christian history, and surprisingly, also enabling a spike in tourism in Paris and Rome. Isn't that remarkable?
That is remarkable. Actually, the Paris and Rome, if he is indirectly responsible for increasing the tourism, that is something. I think the French government and the Italian government should give them their highest civilian honor to him for that.
Yeah, and really, if you think about it, we know that he consumes a lot of pages while writing, even though it is 24 hours. So he takes 300 to 400 pages to complete that 24-hour cycle. And what is good about it is, he describes places like no one else does. Like even in
Yeah.
Da Vinci Code, from the initial scene itself, when he's transferred from his hotel room, he's moving along with the police to the Louvre. So he keeps describing every street, every turn, every street, and on every street, what is on the right side, what is on the left side, the building, their history, the ground, their that history. And the Louvre Museum itself, he describes it so vividly that actually after reading it, you feel like, going, it is like a virtual tour. And you feel inspired
Yes,
to go
yes,
and have a
yes.
look at the museum at least once in your lifetime.
So vivid descriptions, and secondly, what happens is the amount of research he would have done on the book, on the subjects, like the city itself before writing the book. That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really to be praised. That is really to be
Absolutely,
praised.
absolutely.
And you get a very good idea about the city, like what are the buildings. What I have also observed, if you read books, fictions particularly, people always had a feeling long back in olden days that fictions will not improve your knowledge and all, but I think
Absolutely.
it is not the
True.
case.
True. Yeah.
Whatever you read, particularly from the very well researched authors like Arthur Haley
Yes.
or even
Yes.
Sidney
Yes.
Sheldon and all, they'll
Yes.
improve your knowledge. You
Yeah.
keep it in your database,
Such a lot
knowledge
of
base.
information is downloaded that actually what I do is when I read these novels, and I'm kind of thrilled by the way the places are described on certain events. I go back to Google and find out more
Search.
about it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
Even
really
I do it.
fascinating in fact.
One particular author, just a little bit distracting, one particular author called Dick Francis. Dick Francis is always writing about horse racing in England. He's a British author.
Uh,
He write light books, light entertainment books, all about horse racing. And there you get a thorough idea. Before reading his books, I never had any clue about how the horse racings are organized, who is a trainer, who is a jockey. But it has helped me in my profession also once. There was a
I
horse
know
claim, I was able to know what is what. That was my
bloodstock
only
insurance.
source of knowledge. That is my only source of information.
It's really amazing, really, truly amazing. And just while we are on the subject, his latest book, Origin. You must read it if you haven't already.
Yeah,
You must
I need to
read
read
it.
it. I
Yeah,
did not get a copy of it.
yeah. It starts from evolution. He answers two questions. There are two fundamental questions there. Where does humanity come from, and where is it going? So he covers.
Very basic, very
Yeah,
basic,
yeah.
fundamental questions.
Virtually, he goes back to the Darwinian theory of evolution, and even before that, what the Bible says about evolution, what the Torah and other religious texts, Quran. No, so it's a fascinating kind of book, and he comes to a point where actually he introduces us to the supercomputers. The main character here in this story. He creates a computer, E-Wave. It's a supercomputer called
Okay,
E-Wave, which is
okay.
better than the best computers. So, and fascinatingly, this entire story revolves around a virtual character called Winston. So till the end, we don't know who is Winston and what is Winston. We know, of course, that he's a virtual character, but we don't understand what he's capable of and how he plays such an important role in a story like Origin. That it is a fascinating. You have
Okay,
to read it. And those
I
who
need to
haven't
read it.
must. In fact,
I need to read it, and all the listeners will also have to read it and come
yeah, the
back to us
listeners
with
have to.
comments. They
Yes,
will
yes,
have to
yes.
come back to us with a comment. Like I would think so.
No, no, of course, we encourage that. And please do comment, subscribe, talk to us about your preferences, give us some suggestions so that we can put up shows, and maybe in future we can invite one of you interested people to come and have a chat with us. Wouldn't
Yes,
that be good? Yeah.
that should be really, really, really nice and very interesting. Very, very interesting. And please tell us what sort of authors you would like us to discuss, so
Yeah.
that this will also give us an idea, and we can do a sort of a thing with one of you, and we'll
Yeah,
definitely
that
do
would
it on
be,
request. We'll
yes,
definitely do it. Somebody says, we'll definitely do it.
yes. So with that, Supratik, shall we sign off?
I, I think we should sign off, and thanks everybody
Yeah,
for
thanks a lot. Keep
patiently
listening.
keep listening, and we'll sign off. And we'll see you
And
sometime.
yeah, and this episode
Sometime.
will be available on Supratik's channel as well as mine. So look out
Yes.
for it and
Look out for it.
keep
And
listening.
what we should say. What we should say. See you soon.
See you soon. Yeah.
See you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.